Okay. Commissioner Ali,
Yes, present.
Commissioner Dillard,
Here.
Commissioner Johnson,
Here.
Commissioner Harris,
Here.
Commissioner Rivera,
Here.
and Commissioner Traore.
Here.
Thank you.
Does anyone want to read the land acknowledgement?
I can. We meet today in the community of Iowa City, which now occupies the homelands of Native American nations to whom we owe our commitment and dedication. The area of Iowa City was within the homelands of the Iowa, Meskwaki, and Sauk. And because history is complex and time goes far back beyond memory, we also acknowledge the ancient connections of many other Indigenous peoples here. The history of broken treaties and forced removal that dispossessed Indigenous peoples of their homelands was and is an act of colonization and genocide that we cannot erase. We implore the Iowa City community to commit to understanding and addressing these injustices as we work toward equity, restoration, and reparations.
Thank you. So the way this is written, it says the nominations and vote for chair and vice chair. The reason why I wanted this to be on the agenda is because the last meeting wasn't publicly recorded. And so I wanted to get everything on public record. And that's why it is one of our agenda items. And I know that while Mohammed, in his resignation speech, he had mentioned that he wanted me to have the position. I didn't want to outwardly accept that position without making sure that we discussed it as a commission and took a vote on it.
Would you accept a nomination as chair?
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion to elect Vice Chair Lee into the chair position. Would someone second that?
I second.
And we can have further discussion now if other people want to talk, or if other people, I think, are interested in the position. No further discussion?
Okay, you want me to do roll call? Okay.
Please.
Commissioner Ali,
Yes.
Commissioner Daniel,
I just got here, so I'm going to recuse myself on this vote.
Commissioner Dillard,
Yes.
Commissioner Gathua,
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson,
Yes.
Commissioner Harris,
Yes.
Commissioner Rivera,
Yes.
and Commissioner Traore.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0.
And then the next thing that we have to talk about is the vice chair role. Is there anyone that wants to come forward and say that they would be willing to do the duties of vice chair? If nobody else wants to, I want to nominate either Chastity or Kevo. I don't know what you guys feel about that.
Yeah, I'll say that Commissioner Chastity and I have had kind of discussions about, what would be best and if we would be fit for the position. I don't think that we came to any conclusion, and a lot of the things we were waiting on was just kind of hearing what the commission thought was needed in a leadership position, and what was needed, what qualities were needed in the vice chair, and what they were expecting out of that. So before I accept a nomination, I'd like to hear from the other commissioners if you have any thoughts on, what this commission needs in a vice chair.
I'll go ahead real quick. So what's needed is something that I don't have a lot of. I would have said I would step up into that role, but it's what's needed is time. Have to have the appropriate time to be able to assume that role. And that's why I couldn't try to nominate myself, because I lack that. we need time and somebody to dedicate like their time to being in that role. That's the only thing I would say.
Okay.
Commissioner Ali, since you'll be working very closely with the vice chair, I'd like to hear what you think we need in a vice chair.
I think what Eric said is really important, time, and not to say that one of their time is more important than the others. But I want to be respectful to the fact that Kevo is taking medical boards in a couple of months. And a lot of you probably don't know that, but that is really time consuming. And I don't think that it would be fair to ask that you take on this role as you're starting, you know, the ACLU stuff and prepping for boards. I think Chastity is great because Chastity has worked in the community and works for the neighborhood centers. And a lot of her expertise is in like the outreach and the social media and stuff with NCJC. So that's why I think that it would be a really good fit for Chastity.
I don't really have much to say. As Kevo has already mentioned, we talked about this and I agree with him. We're both I am willing to do whatever is best to move this commission forward. So whatever we all think is best, I will dedicate time towards. But I equally think that Kevo could do an amazing job as well. So whatever we want, I just want to move this forward.
I'm going to make a motion to nominate Chastity as the vice chair.
Seconded.
Any further discussion?
I just fully support that.
You're going to pass boards and it's going to be awesome.
Cross your fingers for me, everyone.
And then in 6 months, we'll reassess.
Commissioner Ali,
Yes.
Commissioner Daniel,
Yes.
Commissioner Dillard,
Do I vote on this?
Yeah.
Yes.
Commissioner Gathawa,
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson,
Yes.
Commissioner Harris,
Yes.
Commissioner Rivera,
Yes.
and Commissioner Traore.
Yes.
Motion passes 8-0.
Awesome.
Perfect. Next is the approval of the meeting minutes from June 16th. I'm going to make a motion to approve.
I second.
Does anyone have any edits or revisions that they want to make?
Okay. Commissioner Ali,
Yes.
Commissioner Daniel,
Yes.
Commissioner Dillard,
Yes.
Commissioner Gathawa,
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson,
Yes.
Commissioner Harris,
Yes.
Commissioner Rivera,
Yes.
Commissioner Traore.
Yes.
Passes 8-0.
Next up is public comment of items not on the agenda. The commissioners shall not engage in discussion with public concerning said items. We're going to start with folks on Zoom. If there's anyone on Zoom that wants to make a public comment about something that is not on our agenda, now would be a good time to raise your hand. Okay. If there's anyone here that would like to make a public comment about something that is not on the agenda, now would be a good time to speak. The microphone is right over there.
Hola, buenas tardes. Mi nombre es Ninoska Campos. Vivo en Iowa City y trabajo para la organización Escucha Mi Voz.
Good afternoon. My name is Ninoska Campos. I live in Iowa City and I work for Escucha Mi Voz.
You guys are actually on the agenda. You're the
I'm
next
sorry.
item
Okay.
on the agenda.
Sorry.
No worries. I just wanted to make sure you knew that. That's okay.
Unless there is something else that you wanted to talk about. But we're looking forward to hearing from you, Nanaska.
Hello, my name's Angie Jordan, not on the agenda, just giving out some gratitude to everybody who's come to the diversity markets, whether you've come in person or if you've promoted them or you've just sent positive vibes. Just want to say that it means a lot to have the commissioners there in whatever capacity they can be for that new tradition in the South District. So just saying thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, next up is the American Rescue Plan Act funds, the Johnson County Direct Assistance Program, and the Excluded Worker Funds. So now would be a good time. Do we want to let the public comment first before you make your presentation, or are we fine with letting the public comment after?
I think they're part of the public comment.
Okay. Go ahead.
Como ustedes saben, nosotros somos una coalición de trabajadores excluidos que surgió en el mes de abril del año pasado.
As you may know, we are a coalition of excluded workers that started kind of last March, last April, a while back now.
Buscando justicia y dignidad para todos los trabajadores inmigrantes que son los que sacan la economía de este estado adelante.
Looking for justice and dignity for all the workers that move this economy forward.
Peleamos 3.5 millones de dólares, ganando 2 millones de dólares ante el condado y 1,5 millones ante la ciudad.
We fought for the $3.5 million from the ARPA, 2 million from the county and 1.5 from the city.
Para obtener cheques de $1,400 para cada persona que se vio afectada durante la pandemia.
So that people that were affected in the pandemic could get $1,400 checks.
Entonces yo estoy ante ustedes esta tarde para que ustedes nos apoyen frente al condado y frente a la ciudad.
I'm here in front of you this afternoon to ask for your support in terms in relation to the county and the city.
Ya que ustedes saben que ellos jugaron el juego de lotería, dejaron excluidas 319 personas.
You know, because of the lottery, there was 319 people left out.
Ya fuimos ante el condado la semana pasada, fuimos ante la ciudad porque fueron 319 personas excluidas.
Last week, we went in front of the county and the city because of the 319 people that were left out.
Lo cual este es un impacto negativo en las familias porque de hecho mi hijo fue negado del cheque de estímulo. Yo sí salí beneficiada.
They had a negative impact during the pandemic. My son was left out. I did qualify.
Donde sabemos que todavía la ciudad tiene dinero para implementar y poderle dar a estas personas.
We know the city has money that they could implement into it and include these people.
Y todas las personas que no salieron elegibles son las personas que viven en los lotes de trailers rodantes de Iowa.
A lot of the folks that were left out are folks that live in the mobile home parks around the city borders.
Porque los lotes de trailer quedan aparte de la ciudad. Esto es una discriminación.
The trailer lots they're outside of the city. This is a discrimination.
Donde ustedes saben que los lotes de trailer acaban de ser vendidas a grandes corporaciones de otros lugares.
You may know that the trailer parks recently have been a blessing to the big corporations that have bought them out.
Lo cual eso no beneficia en nada porque en vez de ayudarnos fueron a aumentar la renta.
This isn't helping them at all. Instead of helping them, they're increasing their rent.
Y dejar a estas personas sin el cheque es algo ilógico.
To leave these people out of the check is not logical.
Nosotros queremos, como les dije, que ustedes traten de hablar con ellos y les hagan saber, ¿verdad?, que aporten a estas 319 personas que no van a recibir cheque.
We would like to ask you to talk with them and support the 319 people that were left out.
Mañana van a salir todos los cheques. Mañana van a someter los 1,919 cheques a todas las personas.
Tomorrow they're going to be mailing out the 1,900 checks to all the people.
Ahora mi pregunta, como estos trabajadores de McDonald's que perdieron sus trabajos, el día 19 fue su último día de trabajo porque lo sacaron por no tener un estatus migratorio.
A lot of workers in McDonald's recently lost their work. The 19th was their last day. They were kicked out because of their legal status.
y la mayoría de ellas salieron negados del cheque.
The majority of them were denied the check.
Solamente gracias.
That's it. Thank you.
Buenas tardes, mi nombre es Brisney García.
Good afternoon. My name is Brisney Garcia.
Yo vivo en Iowa City, vivo en las trailers del Scott Boulevard.
I'm from Iowa City. I live in the trailers on Scott Boulevard.
Estoy aquí por la misma razón. Yo no fui elegida para el cheque de estímulo
I'm here for the same reason. I didn't get the check.
y quería pues pedirles por favor que si ustedes pueden ayudar en reconsiderar, volverlos a incluir en este cheque a las 319 personas que hemos quedado excluidas.
I'm here also asking if you guys could reconsider and support us so we could become included in the pool.
Si ustedes tienen el poder de poder hacerlo con la mano en el corazón, se los pido por favor que nos ayuden a las 319 personas que hemos quedado excluidas.
If you have the power to do that, we would ask with all of our heart that you would help those who are excluded.
Yo soy madre de familia, tengo 2 hijos y yo esperaba de verdad este cheque para poder suplir a mí, a mis hijos y a mi esposo también. Él nos salió también beneficiado. Yo les pido de corazón, por favor, que nos ayuden si ustedes tienen el poder.
I'm a mom of a family, 2 kids, and I was counting on this money to help. My husband also didn't win the lottery. So I would ask you from all my heart if you could help support us.
Mi marido y yo somos personas que trabajamos, nosotros pagamos impuestos. Como ustedes saben, yo vivo en las trailers del Scott Boulevard. Ahí en estos momentos lo que es la renta se va a subir, ustedes saben, por todo lo que está pasando.
My husband and myself, we both work, we pay taxes, and because we live in the trailers, soon in any moment our rent is about to be going up.
Entonces, por favor, se los pido con la mano al corazón que nos ayuden. Si ustedes lo pueden hacer, en verdad estas 319 personas les vamos a estar agradecidos. Somos personas trabajadoras y pienso que todos lo necesitamos ese dinero. Y por favor, ayúdenos. Dios los bendiga. Buenas tardes.
So we would ask from all of our heart if you could help us include us in those 900 or 1,900 people. We would be very grateful for your support, and we ask from our hearts and thanks to God.
Thank you.
I just might say a couple words if you don't mind. I'm Emily from the Catholic Worker, and I really appreciate your time in letting us come today. There was a resident in Coralville that sent us a letter, and I just wanted to read a little bit about it. When I read about the program, my wife and I immediately applied on April 27th, 2 days after the applications opened. A few weeks later, when the deadline was extended, we thought that was great. We thought that would mean our application would be accepted and we would be approved, among others. When it came out that we didn't get approved, we thought that odds of us both being denied on a random lottery was very low with the published numbers, less than 1%. We didn't know about the extra monies given from the Iowa City for Iowa City residents only. We even sent 2 emails to the program for clarification that went unanswered. In a way, we feel deceived. It was not a random drawing, as said so on the website, and still does. There was more to it than that. Extending the deadline and the applicant pool just created fewer slots for the people of Johnson County as a whole who don't live in Iowa City. All for the sake of Iowa City residents who would have been funded no matter what. I feel lied to and deceived, and I hope you will consider going back into the program and providing accounting in a way that all people who applied, regardless of what side the river they live on, can get access to this support. My wife and I will be fine, but for the sake of those who may not be, please reconsider. I think we've learned a lot during this program and uncovered a lot of, just unblanketed all, the structural barriers that marginalized populations face. And so that's been good. And going in, we didn't know what to expect. And so contracts were made and agreements were made, but, we were surprised when, we were excited knowing that, oh my gosh, maybe everyone can get this check. And so I think it makes sense, a lot of sense for a variety of reasons for Iowa City to stand up and be a leader and work as a team with the county because of a few things. One, first, the money is already allocated. And so I know, other cities have contributed less, but Iowa City got so much more money than other cities. It's there, it's allocated, and they can kind of move the pieces around so they can fund more Iowa City residents, and then the county can fund others if that's a question. The other reason is the people are identified. We already know who they are. They've already jumped through all the hoops to apply for. So it'd be easy. And the best way we can help people is to give them money directly in their pockets because they know what they need it for best, not us. And then finally, I just wanted to touch on Anyoska's point. Like she mentioned, McDonald's was owned by a Bryan family. I heard that he was sick and they sold the company. So many workers were laid off. Their last day was Monday. And it was a lot more than just losing a job. They lost their family. They've been there, these workers, 15, 20 plus years. So it's kind of a big blow right now in the community. And then on top of that, being excluded from a check because they live in unincorporated Johnson has really hit them hard. So we would appreciate any support you could give us. And we hope that, we hope Iowa City can work with the county and step up and, do what's right. So thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone on Zoom that wants to make a comment or respond?
Well, I'm so thankful for those who joined us tonight and shared about their experience and why this is so important to them. This commission has been on board and was part of the Excluded Workers Fund Coalition early on. And I think it's important for us to be keenly aware of what's going on now. So kind of get everyone on the same page. And there's more information in the late handouts and in the agenda packet, but in summary, a large amount of money was returned to Iowa City that it had already committed to providing to the direct assistance program that Johnson County was coordinating. The way that the money got dispersed was that Johnson County by lottery selected enough participants that would use up all of the funds that they had allotted. And then Iowa City came in and with some of its money funded the rest of Iowa City residents. But unfortunately, that meant that 319 other individuals who were eligible for the funds could not get those funds despite the fact that that money was available. What seems to be kind of possible based on what I've heard is that the city can, through a vote at their next city council meeting, vote on whether they would like to reauthorize the money that was returned back to them that they had committed and somehow provide it back to Johnson County so that Johnson County could provide direct payment to the rest of its eligible applicants. And so I was trying to think of the best way that this commission can help advocate for that. In the agenda, I drafted a recommendation. The title is Agenda Item 7. But one question that I have for Stephanie is, would a recommendation that the TRC makes today make it onto the agenda packet for City Council on August 2nd?
No,
Okay.
it wouldn't. But that doesn't mean that city council can't be informed of.
Sure. So other ways I think that this commission can really advocate is for as many of us as possible, be present and advocate at during public comment at the city council meeting on August 2nd. And a very easy way for us to also reach out to city council is we have their emails. And if all of us just want to reach out to each city council member with, whatever else we want to say and make that recommendation, then we can. But yeah, I'll shut up. But does anyone have any other thoughts?
Yeah.
Yes, please. So for people on Zoom, we just have we're just going to take a pause for some translation.
Escribió algún propósito para presentar con la ciudad, también otras ideas, ellos pueden ir a hablar con la ciudad o mandar un correo electrónico. Y ahorita van a discutir entre ellos. Just did like a little summary.
Thank you.
No, it's okay. We meet before and after, but I really appreciate the time. But you guys can go ahead.
Mohammed.
So what I can say is I still stand by last year in terms of being in full support of you. I can commit right now myself as I will be at that August 2nd meeting, and I'm speaking on public comment.
Hey, Mo, we're having a little bit of difficulty. Is there a different an internet connection that you have available?
Can you hear me better now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I will be at that August 2nd meeting. I will speak at public comment. In addition, I'll do what I can over this next week or ahead of that time to reach out to any individuals I can to find out more ahead of time. And additionally, I have reached out to David Goodner as well to meet with him next week. So that's just all I have. But with that, I yield the floor.
Let's see. Let me find the best way to say what I want to say. This is an issue that I took on, and it's an issue that become kind of personal to me. It should have been a happy moment that they were going to issue those checks to the people who needed it. The only thing that's just the thing that sticks out is I know people who got the checks, and I know people who are not getting the checks. What do you tell those people? Because, you know, you hear the name excluded workers. Well, these guys are going to be further excluded. We can look at gas prices right now. We can look at just the price of living right now. People need help. We're not out of the COVID thing. We just came back from the high transmission rate again. So we're not out of that bubble. The call for the city to reauthorize that money, I don't think that should be a problem. I think that should be an easy thing. We're going to pay 1,900 people. Can't leave those 300 people just left out, 319 people. And that's kind of ironic that it's 319 people if you think about it. That's the area code that we live in. It's kind of ironic that it's 319 people. I actually sat and thought about it for me to even think like that, like 319 people. It seems a little weird to me. Another thing, and lastly, what I say is, I've been in this for the long haul. Last summer, when we went to go out and go check on people in the mobile homes, me and my son, you know, we did a lot of work doing that and to check on people. And I did not see or hear from one city official or going to check on these people. I went to some of the most devastated trailer parks that we have in this area. And I just can't believe that people are not paying attention to what's going on and leaving the 319 people out. That's kind of like kicking people when they're already down. So with that, I will yield.
Sorry.
I really like this recommendation or this draft recommendation. The only suggestion, and I think I said this to David the other day, was that I don't think it should just go to the city of Iowa City. Like, I think that we should send this to all councils in Johnson County, because I know that there are some places like you said Coralville was that person who you read from, right? It was Coralville. Like, they put in 30,000. The city of North Liberty put in $0. So that's like the only change I would make, is that not to have it say like just specifically Iowa City, but like to change the wording so that it's something that we can send to other councils, because I think that that's really important too.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good idea, but some, and I'm not going to say which council has indicated, go talk to the city. They've already indicated that. So, and yeah, I mean, that's what they try to say, it's the city. Go talk to the city. Go get them to read out. We don't want to hear about it. That's already been said immediately after joint entities meeting.
Did you have something that you were going to say?
Yeah, the first thing that I was going to say was, if we can't get this recommendation on their agenda packet, one thing that maybe we can vote on is to approve this recommendation and then one of us read it at the August 2nd meeting after we discuss the text a little bit more. I get the sentiment of needing to reach out to other cities. We are not representatives of the other cities. And so I think the best that we can is sort of use our clout and our positions as commissioners to have conversations with folks in those cities. But I think that this recommendation as written to Iowa City should stand, and then we can create other recommendations replacing replacing Iowa City Council to whatever council and just have separate recommendations.
Perfect. I probably messed up the way I said it, but that was what I meant to say the way you worded it. It was perfect. Any other discussion about this?
I just would want to thank all the commissioners who have put more work and who have been our lead on really following up and walking the walk with excluded workers. Thank you on behalf of all of us. And I'll also just add my voice that as the coordinator for NISA African Family Services, we are one of the signatories on behalf of NISA to work with the excluded workers. And some of those are part of the population that we serve. So we go with I agree. Thank you also, Kevo, for drafting the recommendation for us. And Commissioner Traore for committing to be there on August 2nd, such that even if we don't get the recommendation on the agenda, we shall be part of the public comments. Thank you.
And I would just add one more thing. I mentioned in my previous comments that it's a personal thing. And the reason that it's like that is because most of the excluded workers, I know them personally because I worked with them so closely. Emily probably got tired of seeing me last summer because that's how closely that I worked with them. So I'm just saying it's just something has to be done, because I work just, I've been through many things with the excluded workers, and it's something that, like we all have an issue that we're kind of passionate about. And that's kind of been the thing that I kind of been passionate about, is because I have personally, people who are excluded that are in my family. So it's a personal thing.
So I'll make a motion in a second, but one thing that I can do is I can create sort of email drafts for all the commissioners and try to source all the different relevant emails that we can have an email campaign to for the other cities, with different text that is more targeted towards them. But I'd like to make a motion for us to approve this recommendation as written, and for me or someone in my stead to read it at the August 2nd meeting of City Council.
Second.
Is that a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any
Um,
further discussion?
Would anyone like to make any other edits to the text? Okay.
Commissioner Ali?
I think.
Oh, sorry.
Is this something we'd consider publishing in a local newspaper as an editorial? Is that something we could do?
As long as it passes by a majority.
It has to have a vote.
But I mean, we could probably do a news release too, I guess.
I'll let the chair and vice chair figure that out, but sorry to hold up the vote.
I mean,
Yeah,
you can do the
vote on
vote
that.
and we can follow up on that.
Yeah, I was just gonna say we'll follow up on it after.
So Commissioner Ali,
Yes.
Commissioner Daniel,
Yes.
Commissioner Dillard,
Yes.
Commissioner Gatua,
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson,
Yes.
Commissioner Harris,
Yes.
Commissioner Rivera,
Yes.
and Commissioner Traore.
Yes.
Motion passes 8-0.
Okay, the next agenda item is a follow-up on the proclamation. Is Commissioner Sakowis in the, okay. All right, so we're gonna skip that one because they are not in, they're not in attendance. So then after that would be the proposal submitted by Think Peace, Kearns and West, Native Partners and the Healing Partners team. And if everyone is okay with having the presentation go first, and then people, we can do public comment and then commissioner comments. Is that okay to do it in that format?
Yes.
Okay. And then before they start presenting, I just want everyone to kind of think about this or plant this seed in everyone's head before they begin their presentation. I really don't want to be in a situation where we get denied again by council. I really think that it might be in our best interest not to maybe vote completely to approve this, but I think it might be worthwhile for us to set up a presentation on the August 2nd, council meeting, and then be able to have a discussion with that, and that council can say what their concerns are and what their issue is. And then that way they can rework it and bring it back to the table. I just really don't want to go to council with something that we've approved already and then have them deny it because we missed out on a chance to kind of communicate and maybe get on the same page about everyone's scope and have that open conversation. I spoke with Eduardo briefly and he told me that he thought that that was actually a really good idea. I think that, yeah, it's something that we should think about. And maybe we'll come back to that after the presentation's done. But I think if you guys are ready to start.
If you're welcome to sit. We have an open microphone.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah. Get all cozy.
Well, thank you for having us. So I am Vfix Rise. I'm the CEO and founder of SD Planning. We'll just do introductions real quick. You know us, but just to make sure everybody is familiar.
I'm Angie Jordan. I'm the CEO and founder of Banjonet Empowerment.
Annie Tucker, and I'm the director and one of the founders of Mediation Services of Eastern Iowa, which is a 501c3 local.
And then we also are joined on Zoom by some fellow colleagues. Yeah.
Hey folks, Larry Schooler from Kearns and West. Good to see you all again.
David Ragland. I don't know if he's there or not. Well, David Ragland is joining us with Think Peace. I'm sure he will pop in as soon as he can. So you have our proposal in front of you. We were just going to go through it. We did not create a presentation in any formal capacity. We have been before you before and certainly in different iterations. And so we really wanted to keep this very simple. And just wanted to say thank you to everybody. We have met with commissioners, we've talked with city council members, we've, ever since the last sort of proposal and that pause, we really have taken that time
to dig in and see, you know, what would be a good pathway forward. So that is what this proposal represents to the best of our abilities. And really just wanted to start off by saying that really this is 4 proposals in one proposal. So there are 4 of us, 4 entities, and that's why you kind of see that number 4 here. But we also want to make clear that we have been working and engaging with the TRC and with each other for the past several months, if not longer. And so we feel that what we're bringing before you is very interdependent upon all of each other. So not to say that you could really take any one of the groups and just move forward with that, but that we really want to like recognize everybody's expertise and skills. We really have a community-led framework for moving at the speed of trust. That is really important to us as community members. We have to build those lasting and authentic relationships. It has to be here and continuing to grow as we go through this whole process. And so we really talked a lot with folks and came up with the phased approach that seems the most doable in a lot of ways. And we have a local partners component, obviously, to it, but we really have broken it out into a couple of different phases. And each phase, we have the first one being 3 months and the second one being 4 months. We want to recognize from the outset, as it says, that there's a lot of potential for overlap between these phases. So we say 3 months, we say 4 months. That's what we would like to stick to. And things come up, things change, but that's you know, kind of how life is, right? And so that's why we have this 2-phase approach. And we really thought that it was important to do the 2 phases because after one of the phases, we can evaluate and say, did we accomplish what we needed to accomplish? Are we on the right path? Do we need to pivot? Is there something we're missing before we head into the next phase? And we felt like that was a good approach because it seems more manageable. Instead of saying, we're going to do all of the things and we know what all of those things are, we are just sort of acknowledging that we don't know what we don't know. And that while we have expertise and experience in the room, every city is different. Every process is different. So that's what you'll see in this proposal. Another important component to this, and if I've missed anything, please speak up.
Yeah, I would just add and echo that phased approach piece. Having had conversations with TRC members, city, also other nonprofit entities in Iowa City, also with the residents as well that came to us, which was really exciting. So being grateful for that pause, even though there was a lot of discomfort, it allowed what we're presenting in front of you today to be more informed by folks outside of our circles. And like V said, being able to tether it into this interdependent 4 entity that, you know, Kearns and West started. They were the first proposal. They're still part of it, right? So that there's space and roles for all of us to play. We didn't lose anything. We've gained so much. And trying to package it so that it can also be malleable, I think is a challenge, but it's also really exciting because it can become a template for later down the road, whether it's for Iowa City work or in the state or in the nation. So I just wanted to kind of underline those pieces. Annie?
So one thing I'd like to make clear is when Dee said that at the end of phase 1, what we'll do is we'll reevaluate, we'll see if we've accomplished what we want. The we that we're using is you guys and the people on the team and even the community and anyone else involved. I just wanted to make that we clear, that we is you guys too. You're looking at, are we accomplishing what we want? Are we ready for the next phase? What do we want to tweak? What do we want differently? So I just wanted to make that clear.
One of the other larger components of this is our recommendation to create a commission coordinator position. And this would basically be a point person that would really kind of be a facilitator, be somebody who is, you know, doing some of the coordinating aspects, you know, local activities, events, working with city staff, working with city commissioners, making sure that things are running smoothly, that there's communication. As things start to take hold, there's going to be a lot of things to keep track of. there's going to be a lot of, events or people or meeting notes or, those kinds of things. And so that person we would recommend be a part-time employee of the city and actually be housed in the Department of Equity and Human Rights, working closely with the equity director who's behind me. And we feel that that is a position that would be a really strong aspect of moving forward, so that it's not, because there's lots of commissioners, there's going to be different aspects, fact finding, truth telling, reconciliation aspects of it that I think anybody who's ever done project work understands that you need to have a point person. Like you need to have somebody that's like helping run the show, regardless of how many things are going on. And then housing that in the city, we feel is important because you are a commission of the city. And so it would make sense that whoever is closely working with you isn't actually a private consultant, but actually is city staff and potentially just at a part-time position. So that is our recommendation. Did I leave anything out from that part?
I would also just add to just thinking in the future, or no, we're not there yet, but having that be housed in the city, what that does for future TRCs that want to be city-based and a commission, that this is where y'all should start, right? You guys are obviously paving the way for so many things, but this too can be helpful in if another city wants to do something like this, start with some of these pieces in place. So it's also just kind of another thing to highlight that marriage between the city and the commission from the get-go for the future.
So the scope that we have set out before you, as we just talked about, was in 2 phases, but we really are tying it to the 3 charges. So given in the resolution, which is truth telling, fact finding, and healing and reconciliation. So the think piece will lead the truth telling part of things. Kearns and West will lead the fact finding aspect of things. And then our healing and reconciliation partners will help lead that aspect of the charge. And you can also see that as we are talking about teams, we are including you all, city staff, local partners, community members, as Annie had talked about. So whenever we're saying we really mean we throughout all of this. So you see that phase 1, we do have that broken out into 3 months. We think that starting out with heavy amounts of education, much like some of the conversation that was had when Eduardo and David Ragland were here a couple weeks ago, but having more formalized, education trainings happening. And then also some of the data collection, starting to get that underway with Kearns and West. And then for the healing and reconciliation team, we had talked with local Native partners to start forming Iowa healing circles. And so that's what those would be the time to create those. And that's never been done before. So it'd be something new. So that's all kind of happening at the same time, those 3 months, that's sort of happening. And then we do that pause, evaluate, did we get to where we want to get to before we head on to the next thing? And in there, we do have a presentation to City Council so that City Council is in the loop formally. We think that would be important. And you see the progress evaluation. How about that?
I would add in there too that you'll see it in the healing and reconciliation. There's also the strategic planning and the strategic doing. And so for those who are familiar with strategic doing or not yet, if this plan goes and it happens, like get excited, strategic doing so fun, but it also moves us forward in a way that again, pulls on these entities that aren't here yet for them to see a role in action and doing. And they're like, oh, that's what we do. Okay, come do it with us. So that part, as you can see, I'm vibrating. I'm excited about that. But I know there have been folks who talked about that. Where's our strategic plan? And that's wrapped up in those first 3 months as well.
Yeah, I think that was important. Phase 2 would then kick off and obviously would be a continuation of fact finding. And I know Kearns and West, that is a very in-depth process and they have it outlined in their budget. I don't know, Larry, if you wanted to say some things about the fact finding, and David, if you wanted to say anything about the truth telling.
Well, thanks, V. And hi, everybody. I think, certainly we're excited to be associated with the fact finding elements of this work. And I think the background material you have is, fairly straightforward. I think what we've come to understand about the best way for our team to function is for us to be able to, lend expertise where we have it. And that relates to the sort of dispassionate but important compilation of the facts and the data that are important to you all as you do your work. And so just to be clear, fact-finding and truth-telling are distinct activities in the way that we have laid this out, and truth-telling would fall into the hands of, or would be under the leadership of the facilitation guidance of Think Piece, because as I'm sure he could tell you himself, Dave Ragland is a nationally renowned expert in that space, having helped orchestrate Ferguson, Missouri's work, and has done this work elsewhere. And you all know Eduardo Gonzalez's global expertise as well in that space. So what we're intending to do is determine exactly what it is that you all want to have found, and then help with the finding, and then help with the analysis of those findings. And I just want to underscore help with, not do, meaning we don't see it as our role to tell you this is what all this means, but to offer some analysis, some summary where it's helpful, and then to facilitate dialogue around how you'd like to incorporate those facts that have been found into your eventual recommendations to Iowa City. But yeah, I'm happy to go on, but I think that probably covers it.
Thank you.
And good evening, you all. This is a pleasure to be here. And I'm so glad to see you again and see all that is happening. And I just want to add on to what Larry was saying. They're two distinct processes and also connected. And our work in truth telling is supporting the community and co-developing a hearing structure and process that's also connected to and supporting the healing of folk that are continuously experiencing trauma, so that they're not re-traumatized. And so this is I think a really important role, and also that the truth telling isn't just the public facing testimony structure, but also community healing events and private conversations that can be recorded given people's current level of traumatization and so on and so forth. But we're so happy to be here in conversation with you all and be supporting this extremely important work that you all are initiating and have moving forward. So.
Yeah, so you can see in that phase 2, we do dig more into the truth telling, hearings, private interviews and things like that. So that's a bit more robust on that end, as I'm sure the fact finding will be as well. And then of course, we'll still be hosting then at that point, the circles, the healing circles and that. And then again, you'll see the recommendations, which we would all be working together on for moving forward and presenting that to City Council. We propose 2 phases. This may be 2 of 5, this may be 2 of 2. I mean, there's really no way to know, but I think that what this does is at least gives, a bit of a pathway to taking those first steps that feels maybe more manageable. You can see as you kind of dig into the proposal more, a little bit more of the details for each of the entities, what Think Peace will be doing, Kearns and West, that public educational training up front, facilitated conversations and things like that. And certainly we have everybody here. So if you have questions about what do each of these processes in these phases involve, certainly can answer that to the best of our abilities. But this is a little bit different than what you've been proposed with before. And then when you look at the budget, we did try, and the electronic version has separate tabs for each of the entities so that it's very transparent. We want it to be as transparent as possible as to, how much, who is getting what at what rate. Those things are public knowledge. But then you can see the table that is printed out, the separate entities. We tried to make it as legible as possible in terms of how much each phase was, and then like a total, and then how much each percentage was going to each organization, just so you could see kind of what the breakdown was, that it's not just one lump sum, there's no PERT in there, and that we could answer any questions forthright. So that is what we have, and I will pass it on to my colleagues.
I would also add, and I know started saying this, but linking it to what Mel had said too, this and what Annie said in the past as well, this is a draft. So if you guys are like, what's that? That needs to go. We'll be like, okay, well, we'll tell you what it is. And then you can talk about it, and then maybe it needs to go. And then it goes. I like being in draft mode because it takes the pressure off of perfection and that white supremacy culture and all those things. So I'm always in a draft mode. But I also think it's important to normalize that. We can make these changes. And again, that we is all of us. I think it's so important what Amel said, and it sounds like Eduardo supported bringing that to the city council and bringing them into the we as well. So I just want to, again, underline, this is a draft.
Yeah.
And I just want to add, when this proposal was brought last time, there weren't specific numbers. So I'm just reiterating what has been said. The specific numbers for any given organization or any given task are there. And we really do hope that you will look that over and say, what about this? This is where you get to have those questions and begin to have the input and change and shape what you want.
Thank you all. This has just been such a journey, but I'm very thankful for the journey, because every time we as a commission receive a proposal, I think it's just better and better and better. And so it's really encouraging and clarifying to see it broken down this way. And I think it really does play into the strengths of the folks that we've kind of rallied together and who have stepped up to the plate, really. So thank you. I just wanted to follow up on the TRC Commission Coordinator position. Philosophically, I kind of feel like the commission should be the bridge between our facilitators, the community, and the city. And I also don't know like how long it would take to hire someone for that position, if they would like put out an RFP, and then this just delays everything further. I just wanted to see if you had any more kind of specifying like how you envision that going.
Yeah, so that one, it's kind of two-pronged. One is it creates that connection. Two, it also allows for me to put myself in there. Due to my spouse being a city employee with the fire department, the city's unable to contract with Banjo Knits Empowerment. It's a way for me to stay as part of the team and also run, lead, and point in a way that is governed and dictated by you all and the entities. This is the position we'd carve out. We would be making, I don't know the right words for it, the suggestion that the city consider, if possible, bypassing some of their bureaucratic stuff to get this ball going. The other piece in there too that's important to note that's not captured here is personally, I'm willing, if there is a bureaucratic process, I'm willing to be in that position as a volunteer so that there's not lag time being that point. I think it's important that it is me because it allows me to stay on the team. It allows me to stay on the larger team and continuing to run point that in some ways I've already been doing. So it allows me to do that work. And if it goes to the city, it also allows me to be paid. Through Banjo Knits Empowerment, I would not be paid. Okay. So that would be part of it. I don't know if you guys have anything else to add, or Larry or David, if there's anything you all wanted to add to that piece.
The only thing I'll say in addition to that is that the numbers that you are seeing for the healing partners don't include Angie. So I didn't want you to think that there was double counting for her time, but the hours are in there so that you can see what we would estimate the hours of that person. And so that's kind of, just to clarify that even further.
I wonder if we would like I know that we're not voting on sort of approving this as a recommendation or approving this proposal to send to city council, but I wonder if it would be good for us to have this position. First of all, thank you for clarifying that. That's really helpful. I think it would be helpful for us to have like this as a separate proposal that's like not included in this sort of facilitator proposal. And that way you can kind of make a suggestion of, you know, how many hours and what your quote would be and things like that. So those are my thoughts for right now.
So I'm a little worried that if we like separate this position with the broader proposal, that the underlying theme or mantra of every part is integral might get lost. Because it sounds like this position is kind of the keystone here, like it's gonna bring everything together. Am I?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh.
Angie would be this person.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That makes a lot of sense. Thank you. It's all together now.
We weren't sure how to put it in the proposal, I'll be honest. It's a lot of like, you know, explaining. So we wanted to put it out there and then have a discussion.
And I would just add to that in conversations with the city attorney and the city in general, this was the path forward. Allocating like grant money and then being utilized for banjo knits or being hired by one of the other entities, all those would still be conflict. And this being actually employed was the only route that would allow me to stay on board and be paid.
So would it be clearer if it just stated like we already have the person? So it's not like we're going to have to hire someone or request proposals or something like that. I don't know if that was part of the concern with how long it could take.
Yeah.
That's something I feel like Stephanie might, you know, that answer, if that's like a possibility. Like if we go to them with this proposal with having Angie as the coordinator, would there need to be a hiring process, even if it would be through your office?
This is my opinion, so I'm not saying it's fact. I think if it's a city position, I think it would have to be advertised to everyone. I think if Angie was hired for one of the other firms that are involved, then that's a different story because then she's not a city employee. If that makes sense, like the money would be paid to, it would be part of the proposal for one of the firms to be the agency that hires the person. But I'm pretty sure with the union and stuff, I think you have to advertise positions. I don't think you can just kind of set aside a position for a specific person.
Okay.
Yeah, that was my concern a little bit too, that you couldn't just hire a person. You're gonna have others say, well, you didn't advertise this. You didn't let other people have a chance to do this. So that was my concern too.
I think that's, and I want to let you go, Larry, because I saw you unmuted yourself a couple of times, but I think this is one of those things that would be good to have a broad discussion about with council while the city attorney is there and everything. So yeah, go ahead though, Larry Bear.
Thanks, Chair. Just affirm, strong support for having Angie, in a vital part of our team's orchestration of this work. And so, want to express a willingness to explore any and all options to make that happen. And especially, make sure that we're, fully compliant with all relevant regulations as it relates to, posting of positions and contracts and such. But I'd be hard pressed to imagine a way for any of us to do this work without Angie. So I just wanted to make sure that was underscored.
I just had a question. If we propose this as like an ad hoc position, temporary position, does that change anything, Stephanie? Do you know?
Not if they were employed by the city.
Okay.
So how long could we get an RFP out?
It wouldn't be an RFP. It would just be a job posting. It would be a position
okay.
posting. Yeah.
Could it be a 24-hour position posting? I don't know.
I have not seen that.
One question that I have for Larry, back in the day, as part of the maybe first proposal or second proposal, depending on what you want to count, there was someone on your team that was Iowa City based and who is kind of going to be your Iowa City arm. And I want to know where that sort of position stands and if there would be a possibility to sort of rework this such that Angie in this position was hired under Kearns and West.
I absolutely think that's a possibility, Commissioner. In answer to the question of where it is, the local partners have taken leadership of the effort that we're putting forth, and so they are the ones who have, very thoughtfully looked for a way to, ensure Angie's participation. So in asking where it is, that's sort of been absorbed into the way in which the local partners have very thoughtfully framed this for us. So Angie's role in this would theoretically be the kind of role we imagine in that proposal. And I would say certainly our firm is open to exploring a way for that to come under our banner, if that would be consistent with, regulation and policy and everybody's comfort.
Just to clarify too, from the city attorney conversations, the conflict is anyone who's employing me, the funding that would be allocated for that from the TRC budget is city. And so that couldn't be a position created specifically for me. And again, we can have Eric, the attorney, in here, but we've beat that a few times with different horses and mallets. I can't be hired on. And when we were first exploring that, my preference would have been to be hired on by one of the local entities, just because we have that rapport and relationship. And even that was not possible. So it's frustrating, but maybe having more clarity. But as I understand it, you couldn't hire me on through any entity knowing that the city funding is going to be paying for me.
Right. And so, like, my concern is we face so many roadblocks when it comes to this situation. So I just want to be sure, in whatever way that you're hired or you're being utilized, that is the legal, just the right way, because I don't want city officials or other people to use that as another roadblock for us, because we just want to facilitate. We face many roadblocks when it comes to this topic. And so we need to just be sure. And I definitely welcome you in any capacity, Angie. So I just want to be sure, because I'm sick of the roadblocks from city officials when it comes to this.
Larry, I have a question. I had written some of these questions down. First of all, can you change the way that your graph looks so that it doesn't look like one word every line?
Yes.
Print and waste so much paper.
Apologies.
I'm just kidding, but oh my gosh. Okay, so on 1E, it said client coaching / conflict management and recommendation. I know like the recommendation part, you guys had kind of spoken about, like where we're kind of taking a step back and like assessing. Is the client coaching like us, and what would that coaching at the end of phase 1 look like?
Yeah, Chair, it's a great question. I think in general, we budget time like that so that, for example, a commissioner who wants to know how to do something and we're not having a formal meeting about it can pick up the phone and call us and talk about that. So it's hard to predict, given all of the strategic doing that we're intending to do at the beginning of this process, to know exactly where that need would lie. We just wanted to make sure that we were allotting the time on our side to enable us not just to be at scheduled meetings of either, the facilitation team, the city, or the commission, but also be available to commissioners and staff and others who are involved in this work to be able to, offer advice where we think it would be helpful, whether that be based on the way in which things are communicated to the community or sources of data to collect during fact finding, or liaison roles that we might be able to play between the commission and sources of information in the community. It'll vary, and it's hard for me to predict, but I mean, it's there for us to be able to just have interactions that are less programmed and scheduled than a commission would be.
No, that definitely makes sense. What's up?
So we're wondering if it's possible for the spreadsheet to be put up on the screen so everyone can have access to it during this conversation.
The tabs aren't printed.
Oh, yeah. That would just be,
It's just the narrative. right?
yeah. And then Larry, I just had a couple of more questions for you. So I'm assuming that you're the senior facilitator.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, then who is the senior associate and project coordinator?
To be perfectly candid, we're still working to identify that person. You'll recall that when we first began this conversation, we had enlisted my colleague Sarah Omar and my colleague Kyle Vint to be our partners. I'm delighted to say Sarah has taken a position with NYU Abu Dhabi and is leaving Kearns and West on Friday to take on that role. And Kyle has assumed other project responsibilities in the interim. And so I certainly have a few key team members whom I've spoken with about this, but I think we wanted to make sure we understood the scope of the work that we're going to be doing before we made any specific assignment. But I would say there is a senior associate in our firm who is very excited to potentially join this team and assist with this work.
Perfect. And then a follow-up question to that, would those, the people who would fill those positions, would they be amongst that like packet from the first proposal that you gave us that had kind of like all of your bios and stuff like that?
Actually, the person that I have in mind is someone who has joined our firm in the last couple of months, but brings a wealth of experience that's relevant to the TRC's work. So the answer is it wouldn't be in the original packet, but I'd be more than happy to furnish that information to both you and the council whenever appropriate.
Yeah, they deserve a page.
Yes, they do. They do. Maybe even 2 pages.
And then this is maybe like a silly last question, but in 1B, what is burn tracking?
That is a lovely bit of consultant speak, and it essentially just refers to something that actually has proven to be very important in this kind of work. And it's just making sure that we're tracking the percentage of the allotted budget and time as we go. So for example, if we've said such and such a project, part of the project will take, 40 hours and it's trending towards taking 50, 60 or more, we want to alert the client, which is you all, so that we can make sure to calibrate accordingly, either back off of doing some of that work or agree we're going to continue and maybe reduce work in another area and just calibrate, but not get to the last minute and be, in a tight spot.
Okay. And then just my very last thing I'm going to say is I hope that we'll be able to talk about this to council on August 2nd. I just want to give you some prep because I think they're probably going to have the most questions about the scope of work that Kearns and West does. Just because that's kind of, people don't know what you guys do the way we do or have taken that time. So I just want to make sure that you know that a lot of, I hate the word pressure, but they're probably going to hold your feet to the fire about some things during the conversation. So I just want you to be prepared for that.
No, I appreciate that. And I just wanted to tell the commissioners, as it relates to the allocation of how we may do this work, we're very open to conversations that may evolve that. The most important thing to us is that this move forward, as one of the commissioners said. And so if our role changes as a result of that, we're willing to go down that path. And so we look forward to that conversation for sure.
Okay.
Sorry, we just wanted to pull up the full proposed
Yes.
budget so everybody could see, because I think that team totals is what is in the packet.
Mhm.
But then just wanted to make sure everybody was able to see that we do have, all of the numbers lined up. I do want to just point out a few differences. So Think Piece, if you click on that tab, is actually a monthly allocation of time. So like if you look at row 3, project manager, their unit is monthly. So he's saying 25% of the monthly, like week hours. That's what that is saying. So they're saying about 25% of their workload that month will be focused on the TRC. That is different than how Kearns and like everybody did it differently. And so we didn't want to, change how people were doing it. But then as you, sorry, no, that's okay. I just wanted to show. So on Think Piece, you'll see they have their travel expenses in there, and then we have it broken out what it would be monthly. The phase 1 is 3 months, phase 2 is 4 months, and then the total. So tried to keep it, again, very simple. And Kearns and West also has, they're very detail oriented, which is fantastic. And then also wanted to point out assumptions. So this is something that definitely, commissioners should look at column G, just to get a sense of like how Kearns and West is thinking about doing this and what it means, what it includes. And then as you scroll down, you'll see they've also accounted for travel time and then a final number. So that was phase 1, and then we had phase 2, and then we added them together. So our native partners that we've been working with, we allocated $125 an hour for them. That was based on really, if you're looking at professional services, that's actually a going rate, as you can see with some of the other professional rates that are presented in this combined proposal. So we wanted to honor their time and expertise. And there are 3 of them. So that's why we put those 3 together. And it's very simple. We have the same amount of hours as they do. We also wanted to make sure that they had time in there for final recommendations. So you can see it's broken out phase 1 and phase 2, and then total. Ours is allocated per person. So you'll see like how we also did sort of some allocation as to how much we thought per month we would be working. And then we subtotaled that. We have phase 1 monthly total that includes actually these not monthly expenses. That's a very technical term, by the way, not monthly expenses, which really were, just city council presentations, some evaluation, some of the final recommendations. Obviously, that's not going to be monthly. And then the strategic doing session / strategic planning. So those were those totals. You'll see phase 1, phase 2, and then a total. But we also wanted to show that the phase 2 also includes some presentation and a lot of time focused on recommendations. So just full transparency there. That's where those numbers came from. And then you'll see the team totals is what's printed out in your packet. And if I did the math right, these should still link. Yes. Okay.
So quick question, if I'm reading this correctly, on your Healing Partners tab on line 2, that's what you're saying your pay rate is?
Correct.
Okay.
Which is why you see TRC coordinator was Angie Jordan, and that's zeroed out. But we kept her hours.
I was wondering, when can we get like as I know that we do drafts, so when can we get like a final version of this? And so we can look at it and see it, because that's what I was saying. And then I need to go to my vision appointment, so I can't see all the way up there. And so I was wondering if we can get a final version of it, because like I was saying, I do not want city officials to have any reason to try to pick out something in this and try to turn it down, reject it, because we deserve this. So, and I don't want them to have any reason. So please, just make sure you work on it, perfect it, get all the things checked out, check with city attorneys and things you need to check with.
Hey,
Please
Eric.
get it.
I had made a suggestion that we do a meeting with city council before they even submit a final one so that city council can ask their questions and do all of that.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
I know that you're really worried, but that's, yeah,
Yeah.
I am too. So that's why I'm making sure that that's happening before a final is submitted so that they can get questions out of the way and concerns out of the way.
Because rejection has been a common thing.
Yeah.
So I don't want to go through it.
Also, if council rejects this proposal, it's not one person's fault. Like
Yeah.
we
No, I know that, but I just,
that's a lot of pressure. I was like, oh,
no, I'm not saying one person. I'm saying as a whole, the
As
whole
a group,
proposal.
yeah.
It's
all of us. Yeah.
I just want to,
and this is one of the, this explains a lot. I like it. Just reading the overview of it. I like it. So I just hope that it works.
Yeah. And I really appreciate the avenues for transparency.
Right.
Like the presentations to council, really opening it to the community, like talking about how it's a draft for all of us. So I think it's just like finding that sweet spot that leaves council with nothing but to.
Right. That's why
approve it.
that's why I'm saying my concerns, because our confidence level about something that they're going to approve has dropped dramatically. So
I would also just again like to reiterate, we hope that you all as a TRC, maybe even before you engage with council, just take a good hard look at this and figure out what it is you like and want.
That's what I'm saying.
And like what you're saying, but even before city council sees it, because this should be about you all.
Right.
We've done our best to draft it. It won't be final until you guys get it there. And then again, getting it, like you're saying, before council votes on it. But I just want to reiterate, there's no final draft here tonight for you.
Right. Yeah. I'm not saying, I'm just saying I want to look over it.
Please do.
So we can look at what we wanted but so far it's what we need.
I just want to say, first off, thank you all, as everyone's saying, for the transparency. I think that was my biggest question, concern last time, and you all went above and beyond, listing everything in detail. So I really appreciate that. And I want to also commend you, Angie, for just starting off with this is not about perfection. And I think that really opens us up to really making this a community effort and really igniting that unity that we've been talking about. So I am looking forward to, if we move the discussion to just go talk to city council so they can tell us what they do and do not like, just like we're going to do it, so we can work on this together. So I think this is a good first step. And I want to thank everyone up there too, Larry and David Ragland as well. So thank you all for making this happen. It's giving a little bit more hope.
I want also to add my thanks to everyone, David, Larry, Angie, and our local groups for all the work you have put in between the last time we were to go to the council and now, and moving us forward in giving us a timeline that is very clear, and also dividing the work into the 3 sections that's taking shape, such that the way it's looking is, if this whole team were to be replaced by, I know it's not going to happen right now. If it happened, somebody would be able, there's something to pick up from that is very clear, such that the work is having a life of its own. It is independent on us who are sitting here and what we've done. And that's something very, very great, to have something that somebody can come and continue. Thank you for clarifying that. And then, because we are working with the constructive feedback we got from the council and the community, I admire how you have used it. And because one of the 2 biggies that came back was where the locals, or why aren't the locals at the lead. You've reworked that. Thank you very much. And the other thing has also been all that money. That was something that came back. And then the third reorganization that has stood out for me is instead of just going to the city council with the recommendation, making them part of the discussion and the community, such that Iowa City belongs to all of us in Johnson County. So we are all sitting down, so such that there is not the community sitting out there and saying, you people, the othering. It's our circle, it's our village. So thank you for reworking that and going there such that we are reducing the constructive feedback when we go on August 8 and sit all of us with the council. Even if they're the council, they're the elected leaders of our city. At the same time, they're part of us and they're part of they are also discussing this with us. With that, I will stop and thank you very much for personally getting a lot of clarity and very clear work as we move forward. Thank you.
I just realized that we didn't do public comment. I don't know if there's anything in the chat there, Stephanie, in case.
Also, just for clarity, we are going to have a work session with City Council, correct?
It's not a 100% go thing. I have to talk to Mayor Teague and make sure that it's a go. If there's anyone from the public that wants to speak, anyone in here? Okay. Is there anything else anyone wants to say regarding this proposal? I think the next steps for us are to reach out to folks at Kearns and West, reach out to the folks, our local entities, and get clarifying questions answered and things like that. Just get to know this and read this and make sure you write your questions down. And I think it's really important to also reach out to council members and your close friends and let them know like the amazing work that you've been doing, how resilient you've been throughout the last year and a half, 2 years. But with that, I'm going to thank you guys. Is Dave Regland still there? Because I kind of need your help with the last agenda item.
Sure, I'm still here.
Hi, Dave. So our last agenda item is the Declaration of Principles. And I want to make this like as quick as possible. But it was something that Eduardo had spoken about while you guys were here. And I'm not sure if I sent this to you, but currently we have a mission statement. It says, who are we? Our commission represents a collection of citizen activists from diverse backgrounds calling on the Iowa City community to account for their history of racialized oppression. We are individuals who are committed to structural change, truth-telling, healing trauma, and repair. We share in common a vision for an equitable and sustainable community free of violence and systemic racism. We believe the time has come to foster change. Our mission, the Iowa City Ad Hoc Truth and Reconciliation Commission, is committed to implementing and sustaining grassroots, community-centered truth-telling processes to address past and present instances of both direct and indirect actions of violence, discrimination, and racism in Iowa City. We will collect testimony from a variety of institutions, including but not limited to schools, housing providers, government officials, healthcare, banking institutions, and law enforcement. And so I kind of was hoping that you would be able to kind of do a quick synopsis of what Eduardo had kind of talked about in regards to a declaration of principles, and if this was like something you thought that was similar or
I think that's helpful. I do. So the Declaration of Principles or intent essentially shares as an outward statement to the community what is the focus of your process of the truth-telling that's going to happen in your community. So it serves as a way to encapsulate and kind of share like the focus some of the values that are important as you all are doing this process. And it sounds to me like that statement is headed in that direction. And I'd love to spend some more time looking at it. And I can share some other examples of what other communities have done as well.
Yeah, I would love that. You can email those examples directly to Stephanie, and then Stephanie can get them sent out to all of us. So I want you guys to think about that. Be on the lookout for that email, and also Google yourself what declarations of principles are like. But yeah, I feel really great about today's meeting. We can talk about the tasks for outreach later. I kind of pretty much said it at the end of the talk about the facilitator proposal. Is there any announcements that commission members or staff want to make?
I was just going to make a quick one that when the Excel sheet was shared to a PDF, it lost the other pages. So I apologize for that, and I will get that corrected and archived with the packet so that anyone who wants to see the full Excel document will be able to do so if they just click on the link to the packet.
Don't let it happen again, Stephanie.
Jeez.
I think I see Mohammed's hand up here.
Oh, Mohammed, go ahead.
Yeah, just a few quick things. One, just wanted to clarify one piece about the news story from last week about my resignation. There's a line in there about how I said that racial injustice wasn't a main focus of mine. And I just wanted to clarify that statement of, I don't believe it was in direct quotes, but if that is what I'd said, that's not what I had actually meant. It was more of that it isn't my only focus, and that I have many things that I have on my mind and many things that I'm doing. So just want to make sure that that isn't misconstrued and on the record. And additionally, I just wanted to say that Commissioner Cliff Johnson is bringing back a state boxing tournament to Iowa, and we'll be holding that in October. I think it'd be something really great to get some support out there for. So just saying it early now, as it's further out, and football season and things get in the way, but just want to get the word out about that now to keep that going and hopefully grow it even more over time. With that, I yield the floor.
Appreciate that.
I am coordinating a 4-part series for the University of Iowa Department of Psychiatry. It's our second annual Mental Health Equity Grand Round series. So it'll be live on Zoom on Tuesdays in August, and I can make sure that the commissioners have the link and the schedule for that. You're more than welcome to join as community members. But if you're not able to make it during the times, then most of the recordings will be available online afterwards. So look out for another communication from me about that.
I just want to say that in 2 weeks, there are going to be a couple events. One is our National Night Out event that a lot of organizations are collaborating on for the southeast side of Iowa City. It's going to be humongous. If you don't know about what National Night Out is, it is to encourage a local emergency services to engage with the public. And, as what we are tasked for our commission, I think it's very fitting that we just go out and support and get people to engage with each other. So that is going to be on August 2nd over at Weatherby Park from 6 to 8. And then my organization is doing something similar, but it's a back to school bash where we're giving out backpacks to at least 200 kids over on the other side of town on August 4th from 4:30 to 6:30 at the Pheasant Ridge Neighborhood Center. And then on a side note and personal note, I am going to be in a musical coming up, and I want to invite everyone out because there's not a lot of representation from people of color that go in and enjoy the arts. So it's Little Shop of Horrors. It's going to be in September. I'll get the dates at another meeting. So I yield.
I have one announcement. So last Saturday was the national rollout of 988. And if you don't know what that is, 988 is the new crisis hotline number. If you remember the suicide hotline is a really long 800 number. Now it's 988. You are immediately directed to a crisis counselor who is able to talk to you about, some of the things that you're dealing with, as well as like assess and make a care plan. Along with being able to call, you can also text 988, which is really incredible. And I know that Johnson County and the city and the nonprofit that I work for, we are trying to get training facilitated for our 911 operators to help divert those calls and train them which calls are 988 appropriate rather than having a police response right away. I'm really proud of it. There's been a lot of, like misconstrued news about it going out. Less than 2% of calls require law enforcement. And the only time that we are ever trained to call law enforcement is when someone is actively doing something. And most of our calls, I don't remember the exact quote. So if I don't get it right, please feel free to correct me. I want to say around the 80 percentile, the crisis has been averted within 20 minutes of talking to a crisis counselor. It's available for anyone. I would encourage you to just tell everyone you know about it, because this is something that's really cool. The nonprofit I work for is one of 2 locations in the entire state that is doing the phone lines. So I feel really proud to be a part of this progress. I yield to the floor.
So you said it's 988?
Yes.
That's okay. That's something that's the extreme resource we need. So.
Yeah. If there's no other commissioner announcement.
I just wanted to say that NISA African Family Services that I coordinate in the Eastern Iowa continues outreaching in Eastern Iowa so that people continue knowing that there is an African cultural specific organization for survivors of sexual violences. So for the beginning of fall, we will be at the U of I outreaching so that people can know that if you're working with people who identify as African and they need a referral or they need an organization to work with, NISA is there. We will also, this is in August, we are outreaching as soon as the college U of I starts their 22-23 academic year. And Kirkwood in Cedar Rapids has been very good to offer us an office for the next 6 months. Every Thursday from 1 to 7 p.m. We'll be sitting there and working with clients who may not have transport, or any of our partners who will be sitting there every Thursday, 1 to 7 p.m. for the fall semester. And this Saturday, the Johnson County Human Trafficking Coalition is having an outreach event at the Ped Mall, and NISA is going to have a table for outreach and talking about our services and what we do. And this is very close to my heart, my being an African and an immigrant in Iowa City, and knowing that we have a high population of Africans in our city and Johnson County and Eastern Iowa, yet very unseen. So that is it's a passion of mine to do what I am able to do and what I am qualified to do to make this population seen. Thank you.
Well, I feel like I need to make an announcement. So it is going to be very warm this weekend. Please make sure you don't leave your kids outside. Don't leave them in the cars unattended. Same with your pets. And also, please take care of yourselves and each other. Make sure you're not getting lost in your activities and suffering heat stroke. So please be safe, everyone.
And drink water.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.